Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Valillo, and welcome to Hickory Ridge Concerts Virtual. We're so glad to have you here for our second live stream interactive performance of the series. Now, if you're joining us for the first time, as you may know, we've hosted Hickory Ridge Concerts for better than 25 years at the Dixon Mounds Museum, but with the onset of COVID, we had to take it online. And this is the second time we have done so, and we're going to continue to do so on our regular once-a-month schedule, third Saturday of the month at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time, until we are able to safely return to the Dixon Mounds Museum. Now, the idea is to make this experience as close to the live thing as possible. So, of course, I'll do a song here to kick us off in a minute, and then I'm going to bring on our headline performers. Tonight, a magnificent duo, an incredible combination of songwriting and musicianship from South Louisiana. Ordinary Elephant will be joining us. And then after they do about 45 or 50 minutes of music, we're going to take a break. We're going to enjoy some dessert. And I will feed questions that you have been asking through the chat to our performers. Speaking of desserts, the pie of the night is apple. This is a beautiful apple pie, a medley of 3 different kinds of apples, baked by my wife, Dory, one of the great pie bakers of the Midwest. So I'm going to be breaking into that before too long. I hope you folks have got something for yourselves as well. Now, if you want to stay in touch and learn more about the shows that we're going to be sharing, like Hickory Ridge Concerts Facebook page, and you will be notified of all the shows that are coming up. But let's get the show underway. And to do that, I want to do a song I recorded on my Last Day of Winter CD, and it was written about the town that time forgot, up on the northwest corner of Illinois, Galena, Illinois. It was a place I used to perform at in my earliest days as a touring musician, and this song was written for the man who used to own the club CD Leathers. This is called Letty's Song. I met your girl today, you would be proud of her. She acts a lot like you, but just a bit demure. You would love to stay, watching the timbers rise, 100-year-old bar against cerulean sky. I never made too much when I would play your place. Still I could sing my songs and figure out the pace. After we'd shut her down, we'd talk away the night. I'd crash out on your couch to the glow of the wood stove light. Bitter winds pouring in through frosted coated panes. Strong coffee in the morning pounding through my veins. It was a world apart, a place of last retreat. Old spooks and the ghost of Grant, hand in hand walking down the street. Hey, I went back last year, you wouldn't know the place. It's a big-time tourist town, not one old familiar face. Remember Willie Bear, after Uncle Crazy Sod, he passed out and he froze to death in the town that time forgot. We were so hungry then, living life like a travelogue, flying low through the rolling hills in the early morning fog. Appaloosas galloping through granite-studded fields. Clive Gregson on the tape deck to my humming wheels. She was a little girl last time I played for you. Now she's all grown up, woman in full bloom. You would be proud of her. There's a lot of you I see as she lights another cigarette and she sings my songs with me. There you go, Letty's song, written for the town that time forgot. I actually got a chance to play that song at the daughter, Letty, who was the young girl in the song, at her wedding, which was a real treat. All right, now, our headline performers tonight come from Southern Louisiana. They are the 2017, International Folk Music Artists of the Year, and they combine an old-time sound with original songs and a musical interplay that is just simply magical. So let's bring them on. Please welcome my friends, Ordinary Elephant.
Hey!
Hello.
We're here.
There you are.
You're
Hello.
there.
You're there.
Yes. The joys
Wonderful
of technology.
to hear you.
Very nice to able to play for you. So, I happen to know that you've had quite a couple of weeks. I will share with our audience the fact that I wasn't actually sure we were going to be able to do this show until about Sunday or Monday, and primarily because of where it is that you live. You want to tell us a little bit about your
Correct.
adventures?
Yeah. So we live in South Louisiana, and Hurricane Delta was heading straight for us. We're fortunately not right along the coast, so we weren't going to be as affected, but it was certainly, we were concerned. Our home is old and not brick, and so we evacuated and boarded up and got out of town to try to stay safe. And fortunately, we came home to a home and very minimal, minimal
I was very
stuff.
happy to hear that. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, yeah. So we were we were thankful to be able to still be able to do this and not have that affected.
Yeah, well, so are we, believe me. Now, I happen to be going through some of your liner notes and press kit stuff, and I noticed that, is Honest the latest album?
It
Yep.
is, yeah.
Okay, and if I understand correctly, you were produced by Lloyd Maines. Is that true?
That's not true.
It's not. We have a quote. We have a quote from him, but
You
just
do?
because we met him and
Okay, I thought perhaps he had actually been involved in the recording.
No.
it was
Hopefully someday.
Yeah, we love Lloyd. He's
Yeah.
such a great guy. But
Yeah, for
Nielsen
those-
Hubbard is who produced that last
Okay.
album.
Okay, well, I've heard a number of the tracks off of it, and it's just beautiful work.
Thank you.
It's truly a striking thing. For those of you that don't know who Lloyd Maines is, he is a legendary musician from Texas. He's been on the Austin City Limits stage more than any other musician, usually as a sideman.
I believe that.
Yeah.
He's played with Joe Ely, with Jerry Jeff Walker, Guy Clark, Butch Hancock, Terry Albert, Jimmy Dale Gilmore. It's like the cream of the crop of the Austin singer-songwriters. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, I digress. So the new album, how's it going? How long has it been out? Tell us a little bit about that.
Our newest it came out last May, and
Okay.
which seems like 7 years ago. But,
Right. Yeah, time is an interesting concept right now.
but yeah, it's
Isn't that a
done
fact?
really well. We've been really proud of how people have received it, and we're just happy to be able to play those songs for people.
Yeah, well, it's got to be tough releasing a new project smack dab in the middle of a pandemic where all live performances are shut down.
True.
And,
This was
yeah.
2019 though.
Yeah, May of
Oh, okay.
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Because I noticed you were one of the first acts that I saw that was up and running with live stream performances and doing them in a really high caliber, very, very quickly.
Well,
So-
yeah, our booking agency, Fleming Artists with Jim Fleming, they are just wonderful, and they just wanted to try to get on top of things as quickly as possible to figure out
Yeah.
how to maneuver in this new world, and so we owe a lot of thanks to them for
Absolutely.
Well,
for getting
we'll
things
add
moving.
our thanks to them as well, because we have the opportunity to hear the two of you tonight. So why don't we go ahead and do that? Friends, please join me in welcoming Ordinary Elephant.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much, Chris. And thank you all for joining us this evening. Take these headphones out. Put them over here. Like we said, we live in South Louisiana. I grew up about 30 minutes from here, and we landed here and started getting settled right before the pandemic, actually. Pretty good timing there, deciding to settle down. Before that, we were living on the road full time for about 5 years. And just traveling in that way really gave us an appreciation for how much where you come from is more than just a place. It's the people that you come from, too.
Eggshell white, paint in your hair, dirt beneath your nails, and years on the back of your head. Some things can't wash clean, and some will stick around. Blades of St. Augustine scattered across the driveway. Still feels like Sunday when I hear a Cajun bell. Every chamber in my heart bears a mark of what I come from. Sometimes the world falls apart, but I guess that's what it takes to find a heart cannot break. Wooden table over concrete slab, fish are red and the crabs are blue. Every 5-gallon bucket carries a piece of you. Some things can wash clean, and some will stick around. Spilled beer and a deck of cards, no bed sheet for tablecloth. cities from sidewalk chalk and sail the world in a cardboard boat. I hope I always dream that big. But the whole damn kitchen and every pot of cold mud soup. Hope I always put everything I got into what I do. Some things can wash clean, and some just go out. Every chamber of my heart bears a mark of what I come from. Sometimes the world falls apart, but I guess that's what it takes to find a part cannot break. We cannot break.
Again, thank y'all so much for joining us, and thank you, Chris, for hosting us and for turning your series into a virtual one so that we could join you. Well, before we were full-time musicians, we both had very, very different careers, and there were things that I loved about what I did. But there came a point that I realized that a lot of my goals were based on other people's expectations rather than my own. There was just something that felt easier and safer about that. But we came to realize that the safe route is not always the right route for you personally. And even amidst all of this, the pandemic and our whole industry kind of trying to figure out how to make things work, it still feels like the right path, yeah.
There's an old yellow house sitting on my dash, and a picture I took, sunlight for a flash, the whole family out front, 'cause that's what you do. Sitting on concrete steps, I grew up climbing, I take it two at a time now, but I still reach for the rail, 'cause that's what you do. There's a comfort in keeping to a path, doing what I know and knowing what I have. The safety of a rail gives my hands something to do, but one day this rail is gonna rust right through. Yeah, one day it's gonna rust right through. There are places to go and milestones to meet. Each one that I reach says something about me. It's what they want to hear, 'cause that's what I do. I've kept my head down, kept my mouth shut. Anything to keep me from screwing up, holding on to their version of me, 'cause that's what I do. There's a comfort in keeping to a path, doing what I know and knowing what I have. The safety of a rail gives my hands something to do, but one day this rail is gonna rust right through. Yeah, one day it's gonna
look at the comments real quick. It's so hard to we don't look at them while we're playing because we would get distracted
Forget all
and,
the
and forget words. Thank you all for joining us. It's always so funny to it's just such a different beast now playing shows. And if we watch a live stream, just trying to imagine what the setup is, because you see something on your screen, but you don't see all the numerous TV trays and tables,
Dog beds,
and dogs and dog beds that we have everywhere. It's just fun. I like imagining what other people's space look like.
We've been to a newscast before.
Oh, when we were on
Missouri?
the news, yeah.
And it's just all one room, and you just don't see all the behind the
Right
scenes
on the
stuff.
news thing. I mean, they
kinda
go to the
crazy.
weather or go to this.
Yeah.
You think they're in like different buildings, and it's all in the same room.
Yeah, they could. Hey,
Oh, this past March, it was 2 years that we lost my grandmother, my mom's mom, and she was a wonderful lady. She was 89 when we lost her, and she dealt with a lot of unfortunate things in the last few years of her life. But she, no matter what was going on, she was always happy to see us, and I take after her quite a bit, and so that's something that I hope I get from her. The ability to handle things in that way.
Alarm clock on her bedside table, bright red numbers bigger than your head. She couldn't see them otherwise. She said she might never go to bed. She got her teeth tucked in a tumbler, bright white smile floating in the night. She couldn't flash that grin otherwise, but you'd still see it in her eyes. I hope to be that happy. I hope to be that happy. When the E on the eye chart gets blurry, I turn in my keys. When there is more behind than in front of me. She once was a dancing girl, New York City chorus line. Then she went on down to Texas. He told her that's where the stars really shine. Black and white wedding day picture hung proudly in a frame of gold. She doesn't cry when she speaks of it. She makes you laugh telling stories that he told. I hope to be that happy. I hope to be that happy. When the E on the eye chart gets blurry and I turn in my keys. When there is more behind than in front of me. Well, here I am in New York City. I told her I should make my way down. She said I'll take you out dancing out at the old Horseshoe Lounge. And at the end of our Sunday night phone call, she said thank you for talking to me. 'Cause there are no telephones in heaven, but I heard there might be TV. I hope to be that happy. some more behind than in front of me. Hope I will know all that matters is right in front of me.
John and Don.
John and
I
Don.
guess they're from Bishop Hill. All I know John is.
Oh, hey, John. I heard John and then I saw Taylor, yeah.
And I saw Scott's
Hey.
name. Scott Smith.
Oh, hey, Scott. Certainly not the same as connecting in person, but it's always fun to see people in the chat. It's like seeing someone across the room that you know.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a really new song, or one that we just finished. I started it a little while back, but we just recently finished it. In a monthly songwriting group, and when I was working on this one, I deal with depression, and I was in a pretty dark place at the time when trying to work on the song for that particular month, and just having trouble getting anywhere with it. And I just started thinking about how grateful I am to have a partner in life that can handle that, and the unpredictability of it, and just going with the flow, and blocking off the rest of the world for me when when I need it. And I started thinking about what it feels like what his actions say, what they tell me, and I ended up writing the song from his point of view.
Never been any good playing cards. Sits there like a sidewalk, cracked and winded, taking me someplace didn't plan to go. Penny, it's sinking down, unable to swim, packed full of wishes I wish you didn't need again. I will keep throwing a line out, pulling it back in, bring up a bunch of nothing, toss it out again. Some things are worth waiting for, some I can't live without. Spin without us, they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. Sun falls through the window between your eye and your ear. Temple line on the couch, full of prayers I can't hear. I'll send up my song to you, hope you edge toward the sound. Stop asking the water what it takes to drown. choked by your trial and all the parts of you can't see. Their eyes ask what it is, and mine do. I hope my heart can answer you. I will keep throwing a line out, put it back in, bring up a bunch of nothing, toss it out again. Some things are worth waiting for, some I can't live without. Let the world spin without us, they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. Oh, oh,
Hi.
We got a visitor during that song. I don't know if you can see her, but
Can
one
you
of our
see her?
one of our dogs
This
came
is
over.
Carla. It's a Carla dog.
This is Carla. She's trying to play percussion with her tail.
Hi. Do you hear something outside? Okay. That was a yes.
Oh, okay. What did you hear? You are right, Chris. He said he believes you're playing an octave mandolin,
Oh,
and that is
yes.
what that instrument is. I don't know about all of you, but we started out our pandemic by flying to and from Australia in a matter of 5 days. I would not recommend doing that. I would recommend going to Australia. It is a beautiful country with beautiful people. But it was right before everything really started.
Not without business class. If I was on business class.
Yeah, that was the flying coach all the way there is
Not as good as business.
not as good. Yeah, we've never flown business class to Australia. I promise you that.
True.
But anyway, it was right at the beginning of everything, before everything really shut down, and so nothing was canceled, and so we still went there to do a tour. And right after we got there, we played one show, and then everything started shutting down, and so we had to come home. And what's that?
Someone here is from Adelaide.
Oh, yay! Hi. That
We were there a couple of years ago.
yeah, that's so fun.
Or, wait,
Yeah, it was a couple years ago.
19.
Yeah,
2019.
in 19 that we went to Adelaide.
Aldinga Beach was, and then Adelaide Hills
Yeah.
were the two closest
Yeah,
stops. Sorry.
beautiful, beautiful places.
Yeah, we loved it.
We love Australia. but getting back from there was a concern for us. You know, in the middle as the pandemic was taking hold, and we were worried about getting back home, and so we're kind of on an adrenaline high. You know, rush trying to make sure everything was gonna happen, and everything was fine. We got home, and it kind of just felt like this relief. We had accomplished what we were trying to do, and then all the reality of everything was able to start sinking in after that. And my brain often works through things in song, and no different this time. This song started coming out shortly thereafter.
Tell me that story again, darling. The one where we all end up alright. Wasn't it true once upon a time? Wasn't it true once upon a time? I'll keep keeping up with the laundry. You'll keep keeping up with the car. I guess things aren't really changing here. It sure feels like they are. It sure feels like they are. We got good dogs, we got a good porch. Got eyes to see and we've got a good view. Got ears to hear and we are listening. The truth is not something we can choose. The truth is not something we can choose. Tell me that story again, darling. The one where we all end up alright. Tell me that story again, darling. Wasn't it true once upon a time? Wasn't it true once upon a time? Wasn't it true? Wasn't it true once upon a time? Wasn't it true? Wasn't it true once upon a time? Wasn't it true? Tell me that story again, darling. Wasn't it true? Tell me that story again, darling. Wasn't it true? Tell me that story again, darling. Wasn't it true? Tell me that story again, darling. Wasn't it true? Wasn't it true once upon a time? Wasn't it true? Wasn't it true once upon a time?
Well, something that that I do, in addition to writing songs, is writing poetry. And we actually have a poetry book that we typically bring around with us to send home with anyone who would like to, but they're in our closet now. But we'd be happy to mail you one if you're into poetry. But I'm gonna read something from here for you. I had mentioned my grandmother earlier, and shortly after she passed, we had to go get something we just called it the shop. It was out behind their house, and it's something that's very common to have in South Louisiana. It's like a workshop, like you might think of, but there's also a kitchen and a table and a place to have family gatherings and fish fries and crawfish boils, that kind of thing. And we had to get something out of there shortly after she passed, and I wrote this one. It's called Yardstick. Leaning up against the worn wooden wall, it's 3 feet on the concrete. numbers and notches, so orderly along the side, a contrast to this space. Black ink or paint in the grooves that told it where to be, making marks for measuring. It was probably made for fabrics, but was more often used for fish. So many cleaned and cooked in this workshop that was a satellite extension of the house, where there are only cobwebs and quiet now. But if I close my eyes and hold my breath, I can smell the cornmeal and red pepper. I can hear the fuzzy crack of fish hitting hot oil. I open my eyes and pick up this aging yardstick, still sturdy in my weak and weepy hands. And I'm thankful that some things can't be measured. So we something that we've started recently is a Patreon page, and some of you may have heard of that, but it's basically a little online community that in exchange for a monthly donation, people have access to either exclusive things that will only exist in that little community, or things that are going to go public, but they go there first. And so we put up new songs that we write. So the last 2 songs that we played they go to the Patreon community first before anyone else hears them. And we also put new pieces of poetry, things that I've written more recently from them that are in the book. And so that's something that if you want to keep up with us in that way, that's something you could check out. It's on our website is ordinaryelephant.net, and there's a little button for Patreon that our tech master put.
Our webmaster. It's webmaster.
Okay.
Gosh.
Sorry. You're a tech master to me because you can do all of the things tech. Yeah, I feel like we learn so much from our families. There are parts of our families I think that we all have that we maybe wish weren't part of our family. And then there are the good teachers, the parts of our family that we want to be like. This song comes from that kind of part of your family.
It's not bad.
Yeah. We did write it in tune, so we're going to make sure to play it that way. Excuse us while we get tuned up. And again, a big thank you to Chris for rolling with everything and turning his series into a virtual one. It's something that it's what we can do right now, and we appreciate everyone who's making it possible. So thank you, Chris, for doing that, and all of you for being here and supporting it.
Jenny was a good woman, James was a gentleman. Pushed hard against the pushback. They loved like porcelain. It was a work of art. It got stronger under fire. Got judged for being what it was. It was worth the fight. Don't forget what you come from. Showed up at 16. James was born right down the street to a name that told him who he should be. The things you didn't do, people you didn't talk to. Jenny and James, they didn't care who knew. Don't forget what you come from. Don't have their own way, dealing with where they've been. They left before you got here. She left her words to read, and I'll give you her name to remind you of who you can be. Don't forget what you come from. 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 Don't forget what you come from.
Oh, I'm just gonna keep up this one. I'm a very, by nature, I'm a very quiet and introverted person, and I tend to avoid conflict and confrontation, and like to try to keep the peace and keep everyone happy. And in a lot of situations, that can be totally fine and good, beneficial even, potentially. But there are other situations where the ability to stay silent is a privilege. Because, you know, not questioning something, not stirring things up, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't hurt me. But it can hurt and affect other people. And something that's become, you know, that I've realized is just how dangerous I can be as a quiet white person, and how undeniable it's becoming that it's not enough to not agree with the way things are, to not have actively asked for things to be the way they are. We have to actually actively ask for them to change.
System built up broken and a game that's fixed. Why can't we diagnose it for the cancer that it is? Stop lying to its children there in the waiting room. Yeah, it'll be good as new real soon. Back alley crime spilling out on the sidewalk, or into a driver's seat, or while jogging down the street, or just sleeping with the lights off. History repeating the penance inside of it. So they scrawled it out in blood, kept writing down what we should think. I didn't ask for it to be this way. But here it is, more silence ain't gonna make it change. shouting at us from the screen, screaming out what we could have heard if we'd been listening to years of black voices and what a quiet need on a field might really mean. There's no rug to sweep it under, a twist of words to make it right. The truth is staring us down like a mirror in the morning light. Can't be unseen, can't be undone. Can't call it a lesson learned if it doesn't teach anyone. I didn't ask for it to be this way. But here it is, here it is. More silence ain't gonna make it change.
We are going to be doing our early voting next week.
Wednesday.
Wednesday is our plan. And we hope that all of you have a plan for voting safely, however it is that you need to do that. We have got one more song for you. We thank you so much for joining us here this evening.
Do we play any music festivals?
We-
When there are music festivals, we have.
We have, yes. We miss the festivals. Ah. Oh. This last tune is one that we wrote for when we need to hear it, basically. When we were traveling around, get to see all these other musicians, songwriters, and we realize how as humans, when you can see someone doing something that you love, and when they're doing it really well, it's hard to not compare yourself for at least a minute, you know. And we try to not do that as much as possible, to get to quickly pivot away from that and realize that it's better to be inspired and to remember that we can all provide something unique in this world. So this one's called Best of You.
1, 2, 3.
Over in the corner, like an old bar stool, he held me up right when I needed him to. He said, listen up, my friend, let me tell you what I know. You can wish you were someone else, then you gotta let it go. 'Cause that's a good way to get a bad start. I don't care what straw you drew, gotta let it make the best of you. We ain't playing a game, we're running a race. It's a way of life, boy, you just gotta find your place. Used to be like you, sit here in the dark, watch them in the spotlight, pick myself apart. That's a good way to get a bad start. I don't care what straw you drew, gotta let it make the best of you. You don't need to bring down the house if you can bring 'em inside. When they bring down the lights, then the room went dark. I could barely see his face. Picked up his own Martin box, ready for the stage. He said, let me ask you this, what you gonna do? You pick yourself up or find a crack to fall through? 'Cause that's a good way to get a bad start. I don't care what straw you drew, gotta let it make the best of you. You don't need a good way to get a bad start. I don't care what straw you drew, gotta let it make the best of you.
Ordinary Elephant.
We're gonna get our headphones.
Finally, I can clap.
Sorry,
Wow.
can't hear you.
Okay,
yet.
so for those of you that are in the audience, we have to wear earbuds when we're on together, or else we get that dreaded echo effect. So first of all, let me mention, I've been adding third harmonies all over the place.
Oh, that's fun.
Have fun.
It sounds so beautiful. Your harmony singing just, it just tears me up. I
Oh,
love
thank you.
harmony, and you have a very natural interaction with the way that you work.
Thank
The
you
thing
so
that
much.
just, which I really enjoy watching, though, is the interplay of Pete's banjo or octave mandolin against the song. Because when I use sidemen, the struggle I have is that they all want to play, but a great sideman plays to the song.
Yeah.
And
They listen.
every single piece you do, that's what you're up to.
Yeah.
So do you
yeah.
work that out? Do you have a creative process to do that, or is it just years of working together?
Well, I don't know. I think it kind of came naturally. I was never really a lead player. When we met, I was the singer-songwriter in another duo with a bassist, and so I'd taken guitar lessons and stuff. But I guess when I got the banjo, it kind of developed pretty naturally because I couldn't do a whole lot on the banjo at first. So I just made sure I picked the best notes I could when I picked them. I think
That's
that's
And yeah, and I think he
that
just
Norman Blake thing. Less notes, better notes.
yeah, absolutely.
and he listens so well. The way that he listens to music is he listens to all the parts and how they interplay, and so it's a reflection. To me, it feels like a reflection of how he takes in other music and wanting to make sure it's in the right spots. Whereas I'm very much a lyrics person, so I tend to listen to lyrics first, and he's the other way around.
Yeah.
So many things to say about that. But before I get into all that stuff, first of all, it's pie time.
Oh,
Sadly, Ordinary Elephant did not have time to make a pie because they were busy trying to make sure their house was still standing.
yes.
So
We have tea.
we
have tea for
I
dessert.
have tea.
I could get some
I,
chocolate
however,
chips, but
do have pie. So,
well,
before I take this bite, let me ask, Crystal, you are such a deep writer. And I'm so glad you did that poem today, The Yardstick. I remember when I saw your first live stream that I saw. I'm sure you had done some before. You did a piece of poetry in the middle of the show, and I just loved that. I completely forgot about that until you did it again tonight.
Well, thank you.
Is poetry writing different than songwriting to you, or is it the same?
It is.
process?
I mean, I started off as a poetry writer before I was a songwriter. I wrote. That's how I got things out when I was growing up, and I just wrote stories or then started writing poetry. And I realized, it's like, oh, I think I want these to be songs, And so I got a guitar and right after I graduated high school and and started turning them into, started writing songs, which it is different. It's a different thing, a different medium, but they blend to me.
Yeah.
Songs can be poetry, but poetry can be its own thing too. Not every piece of poetry would fit as a song.
Well, you are fearless in the subjects you tackle. You go places that I would be very careful to tread, and you do it with grace and elegance, which I just love.
Thank you.
I think a lot of us faced a point in our careers or our lives where we made the kind of choices that you did. I'm going to stop doing something else, and I'm just going to devote myself to the music. And just the way that you expressed that in your song, I thought was beautiful.
Thanks.
Now, I have had a few questions, and I could talk to you guys all night long about the music and playing, and I'll get back into that. But I did have a question that a friend of mine posed, but I've got way back up here. I think he was curious about your name. How did you come up with the name Ordinary Elephant?
Yeah. Basically because there are no ordinary elephants, in our opinion.
Okay.
Even your, everyday ordinary elephant out there is this magnificent creature. And so it's kind of a reminder to us that there are a lot of things out there in life that way. So to always take a second look and be willing to look further.
Yeah. You may be able to see Matt Haberman's comment there. You
Oh,
are
yeah.
an extraordinary elephant.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah. So, Pete, the style of banjo playing you're doing seems to be somewhere in the family of frailing, but not necessarily right down that road. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I think it's clawhammer. I learned on YouTube, so I'm definitely not one of those players who grew up in the tradition, and so I can't speak expertly to the style. However, I can teach someone what I know, and some good foundational things if they were interested. I do think it is clawhammer, and there's a couple other techniques that I throw in there that I've learned along the way.
Perhaps it's the fact that you aren't playing it really, really fast like the old time musicians I'm used to hearing it in. It really allows the banjo to breathe more and be more expressive.
He's so good at playing melody lines, little like picking out, not just, it's not busy. It's like you hear the distinct lines that he's purposely putting in there.
Well, and I didn't grow up learning fiddle tunes on the banjo, and so that I mean, not that I don't wish I did, but that's definitely when you hear like someone that's been playing a long time that's really incredible. A lot of times they grew up playing with fiddles, and I kind of grew up on the banjo. I got one in 2011, and I was pretty much playing with Crystal's original music. So that's kind of my evolution of the banjo.
Wow. Now, in Central Illinois, they have a whole lot of old-time music and a string band tradition with fiddles and clawhammer-style banjos.
Yeah.
So I've heard a lot of that, but I just find the way you approach the instrument to be so beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Now, Pete, I understand you grew up in Austin, Texas.
Yes.
Which is known for its outstanding food and simply great music. I mean, it's such an amazing music scene to be around. How did that affect your playing over the years?
Well, I think it was great. And it's different. I will preface it by saying that it's different to grow up in a city like that than to spend your 20s or 30s or your adult years in a city like that. I did get to probably see a lot more live music than someone in another town that doesn't have as much live music. But probably the biggest impact, other than just kind of this aura of musical culture, was being able to take lessons from a professional musician, and he was a really fantastic teacher. Is a really fantastic teacher, And I'm so grateful for my parents sending me to guitar lessons instead of drum lessons. Although I would have loved drum lessons at the time.
Like, I want drums. Here's a guitar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel their pain, believe me. Hey, you want to take a moment to tell folks a little bit more about Patreon? I know you mentioned that
Yeah.
you're doing that. How they can join, or what it might be.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so probably the easiest way to get there is just to go to our website, ordinaryelephant.net, and there's a Patreon button right there. And it's a cool thing for us to be able to connect with the community in kind of a more vulnerable way, I guess, because we'll put things there, new songs, that we've just recently, very recently finished, and they may change. There's actually one that we put up there several months back, and there was just something that like kept bugging me about it, and we're in the middle of changing it like dramatically right now. Kind of just not so much lyrically, more just how it's played and some lyric things, but so they'll be the first people to see that new evolution of it, and it feels a little more like you're around a campfire with a group of people or something.
Yeah.
And they get to
We kind of pull back the veil of our creative process a little
Yeah.
bit. We also share some. Crystal she'll read poems, and we
Nice.
put the audio for that on there. And those are some of the types of things we share.
there was
that.
someone at a show once. They loved the poetry in the book, and they're like, we want to get the book, but we feel like we won't read them right. Like they won't hear them the way that they're supposed to be read.
Oh,
And
that's
she
interesting.
said, oh, you should do the audio version of it. And so that kind of gave us the idea to do that every so often. We'll put some of those up on Patreon.
That makes a lot of sense, because when you started that poem tonight, I mean, the first sentence you said had such a depth of feeling to it, and I could sense the loss of your mother through that, and the way that you interacted with it. I could see where having you reading your poems would make a lot of sense to folks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I love the idea of going back, opening up, the curtain to see the creative process. To me, that's what's so
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah, just kind of talking about like the last one that we played tonight. That was the last one we put up in September. We kind of talked about it's kind of this weird process that we use, this weird exercise.
Songwriting process.
Yeah, songwriting process that
Ooh,
to
tell
kind of
us
explain
more.
it in there.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Well, I can tell you a little bit. I don't
Yeah.
want to bore the
Spoil it.
non-songwriting nerds, but it's called the translytic process. And what you do is you start out with a foreign language poem, or well, let's just do that, and you translate it, note the air quotes, into English, and that just means you're like interpreting the way the words might sound or whatever. You get this pile of gobbledygook.
yeah, you're not trying to truly figure out what you think they mean. It's like you just read a line or in your head, and whatever, it's like free association, like whatever stream of consciousness, comes out, and you just put it on the page.
And
And
yeah,
it's gobbledygook.
and it makes no sense. You throw away the original, and you make another draft based on draft one, and then when you're done with that, and slowly you pick out like little phrases and meanings, and after about 5 or 6 drafts, it starts to make some kind of sense, and you just keep going until it's presentable, which could be a long time. It could be a short time. It's a really crazy process.
That's actually really fascinating sounding, though. I'm
Yeah, it just
starting,
lets you tap into places that,
I'm just
you
starting
wouldn't
to work a little bit with a poet about trying to create some sort of a performance piece combining music and poetry.
Cool.
But that sounds really exciting. Well, listen, anybody out there have any more questions to ask Ordinary Elephant while we still have a minute or so left? If you do, put them into the chat right away. We will get them up, and I'll ask these final couple of questions. Before I do that, let me tell you that our next concert is, well, let me go just bring up the little banner because I had to write it down so I could remember. November the 21st at 7 p.m. We'll be featuring a remarkable mandolin player, a bluegrass wizard named Mark Stoffel. Mark did the mandolin and fiddle work on my Abraham Lincoln in Song CD. And when we got reviewed in Mix Magazine, they specifically called out his playing as exceptional. He is just an amazing musician. Stay tuned to Hickory Ridge Concerts Facebook page, and I'll post some video of him. He has a brand new recording out called Coffee and Cake, and we're just really, really excited about getting Mark on the show. So that's going to be our next show on November the 21st. You can support our series through a free donation here. And let me throw that one back up. There we go. You can either send us something in the mail, or you can do a PayPal donation. It goes right into the Hickory Ridge Concerts account. All the money we raise pays performers, period. Okay. Hey, Jeannie, nice to hear from you. Okay, I think that is it for our questions. Hey, Pete and Crystal, this has been a joy. I've really enjoyed getting to visit with you. I'm always amazed that when we do the conversation at the end of the show, we still have almost as many people as we had at any point in the concert.
That's great. Yeah, it's we love things like this through StreamYard, where we actually get to see another human and interact like this, for a show.
Yeah,
So
it's such a cool thing.
It's been great.
And, we're going to hopefully continue to do this and continue to improve it. So with that in mind, do you have one more song you could take us out with?
Sure, yeah, we can do that. We'll do a little short one that we were down in. We love West Texas, New Mexico area. We were down near Big Bend National Park, and we went to the McDonald Observatory out in Fort Davis, Texas, and just saw these amazing things through these giant telescopes out there, and just feeling particularly thankful for all the things that we get to see out in nature that make us feel so incredibly small in just the best way. And so we wrote this little tune called Thank You. In the belly of this canyon carved by the hands of the Rio Grande, 1,000 miles from what I once called home, I'm just a speck on this West Texas wind, blowing through these hills of stone. When I feel like next to nothing, next to something like that, I know there's nothing I need I don't already have. Talking about tomorrow, looking at a sky full of past. The only thing that's new is the moon. Our eyes collect the light of stars, born 3 million years ago, showing up as we are passing through. When I feel like next to nothing, next to something like that, I know there's nothing I need I don't already have. So thank you for taking me to the trees and where the mountains talk to me. Time ain't slowing down, guess you and I better learn to. 'Cause what's the worth of living through a life that cannot catch up with you?
Oh, beautiful.
Thanks.
Well, I want to
so
thank you
much.
so much for joining us. Everyone, please be sure to join us next month on November the 21st with Mark Stoffel. I have got Ordinary Elephant's website right up there in the posting, and it is backwards in our chat. So be sure to check them out, follow them, and keep track of them. You might want to get into their Pantheon group. That sounds like something I may even want to do. So Pete and Crystal, thank you so much. What a pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you.
Really appreciate you making the special effort under the dire circumstances you were in just so soon. So,
Thank you
safe
again.
travels to you, and we'll see you down the road. And friends, we'll join you all next time. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Take care.